Welcome to Big Hoss's Tailgate.
All right, and I'm with Scott Sean White, Nashville, or well, no, you're Texas singer
I'm
songwriter.
Texas, but I'm in Nashville 2 weeks a month, so both places, yeah.
Yeah, I prefer Nashville. Like, well, that's not true. I've only been to Austin, and I've been to Amarillo.
Yeah.
So I want to go to different cities in Texas. Which city would you recommend?
I mean, for music, it's definitely the Austin area.
Mm-hmm.
New Braunfels, Austin, Wimberley, all the legendary Texas places are there, except for, Billy Bob's, but that's a whole different animal in Fort Worth. And the Fort Worth scene is really cool too. And the Amarillo, Lubbock scene out there is really cool as far as singer-songwriters and Texas artists.
Yeah, my buddy got me around like 2017, got me a lot into the red dirt scene.
Hmm.
So a lot of my favorite artists are coming out of there, like William Clark Green.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I found out about Cody Johnson that way. Was
Yeah.
listening to the Red Dirt stuff. Then he started getting bigger, and I was like, oh, great, because I want all my friends to see that this is great too. Like,
Right. Yeah.
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 So where are you from in Texas? Like, where were you like originally from in Texas?
Well, I was born in Waco, but we got out of there as fast as we could. And we moved to Kerrville, the Kerrville area, and I grew up mostly in Kerrville. And then when I was 16, we moved to Dallas. And I've been in the Dallas area ever since, so 41 years.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
and I mean, I'm not, I say Dallas area now. We're 45 minutes east of Dallas in a little town called Poetry, Texas. Um, but it's, I still consider it the Dallas area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long have you been playing music or writing music actually?
Well, playing music, I started messing with it when I was 16, 17. I was in my first garage band when I was probably 17 or 18. Um, and then I played in a 10-piece R&B funk party band for almost 30 years, from about age 20 to till I sold via business when I was 50. Yeah. Um, and just went full-time songwriting. As for writing songs, I did write my first song when I was like 16. It was awful, just awful. And so in the last several years, when people go, "So when did you start writing songs?" My first answer is good songs.
Yeah. I like it. Good songs or yeah.
Because I mean, I wrote a bunch of songs before then. And
Yeah.
and I wrote hip hop and R&B stuff really for about 15 years and produced it before I ever went to Nashville. And I was a studio engineer around the Dallas area, and so I would do production and programming beats and all the stuff, and all the stuff I've had in TV shows and movies and stuff has all been that hip hop and R&B stuff from way back when.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and then 2005, I started going to Nashville because I had the kind of childhood that produced stories I couldn't tell in hip hop and R&B really. As I like to say, I had a quality redneck upbringing. And so I started going to Nashville and I got hooked immediately on those kinds of songs and just fell in love with the whole deal. And that's all I've been doing ever since. So,
Oh wow. I didn't know Texas had a big like R&B scene. Like I mostly know it for like, Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson. I didn't know
right.
that had a huge scene there.
There is. I haven't been involved in it really since 2005, other than the band that I was in. But that was a cover band for the most part, playing corporate events and weddings, and we did Earth, Wind and Fire, and Michael Jackson, and all the old disco
Man,
stuff.
I do love my 90s R&B though.
Man, yeah,
My
it was
buddy
good.
got me into that when I was in high school. He'd play Boys to Men all the time, and I was like, "This stuff." I was like, why am I just finding out about this?" Like, because I just grew up in a country house. Like, it was
Mhm.
mostly just country played.
Yeah, yeah. We had a horn section and three singers up front, and I played keys in the band, and it was a super fun band to play in. Not so much to run and be the boss
Yeah.
of, but playing in it was amazing and great players and great singers and it was a big wild extravaganza. So,
Tell you what, Nashville's changed a lot since you first went there, hasn't it?
oh man, don't even get me started. I was
I,
just telling somebody the other day. I remember being in a room in one of those high rises a few years back and writing with a kid and looking out, and you could see out that particular window, you could just see houses for a couple of blocks and got nostalgic for a minute. And I was like, man, I remember when all this was that. And there were none of these that we're sitting in right now, right? Because that was one of the things that made me fall in love with it when I went to town in 2005. The first time was it was freaking 3, 4 blocks wide and about 10 blocks long and nothing but a neighborhood that
Mhm.
I mean they look like houses, but all of them were publishing houses or record labels or management or whatever. Um, and it was just awesome to walk into those houses
Yeah.
and all the music that was in there and and there's still a little bit of that. But like my first publishing deal that I got in 2007, um, that building doesn't even exist anymore. It's an Orange Theory workout gym.
That's just from like so I started going like my brother would go down we worked in a titanium plant, so we get Christmas break off all the time. So we
Right.
would just go down to Nashville for a week and just like go to hit different bars and just see different bands and stuff.
Yeah.
And the town has changed so much from 2013
Hmm.
to last time I was there was 2021.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap, like all the bars are different, like a lot of my favorite places are gone and we're
Yeah.
like I mean, I'd say the stage was one of my first like favorite bars when I used to go to Broadway. And
Hmm.
now there's like five different bars in there. I'm like, I remember there just being one.
Yeah.
Like it was just that the main stage.
Yeah, you're right. Because you're talking about a whole different world than I was talking about Music Row, but yes, Broadway is completely different.
Yeah.
So much so that I hate Broadway.
Oh,
It's
I
it's
completely agree
I'm,
with
I'm I'm too old and it's too
yeah.
crazy and it's too out of control and just a bunch of drunk bachelorettes and drunk people in general. And there's boom, 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 boom coming out of this place while there's country music coming out of this place. And I'm like,
Yep.
get me out. So yes, Broadway is drastically different too.
Yeah. The only country bar that we have here in Nashville or here in Pittsburgh is Tequila Cowboy,
Hmm.
which was a Broadway bar. And I was like, so I'm getting all the, it's like, oh yeah, it's a country bar, but it's all the hip hop remixes of like
Hmm.
Jason Aldean and Luke Bryan. I'm like, I, I'm like, I have a real honky tonk that live like that was like where I grew up at. Like it was just right over the hill. That place, I'm used
Yeah.
to that, and I come to the city and see this, and it's like this is not the same. We're not the same here.
Yeah, it's wild, man.
And it's
Yeah,
funny because you see the real country boys show up, and usually when that happens, there's always going to be a fight. There's always because the city guys think it's fun to mess with them, and it's like you're messing with the wrong guy, and then oops,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it,
No, it has changed a lot. But I've also learned that just everything changes.
oh yeah,
There's no there's no getting around it. And some of the change sometimes is for better, some of it's not, but it changes regardless of whether we like it or not. So
yeah. I mean, there's more money to be made, so that's a good change. But the bad change is that you got to deal with some poppy
yeah,
things, and I
yeah,
get it. We have to do it because it's popular, but sometimes popular sucks.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It does. It does.
So, so what was some of your influences like when you started like that influenced your music, like to make you want to be more personal? Like you said, you came to Nashville and you started hearing that story sound. So, like, what were some of the artists that influenced that?
Um, Man, it was the Nashville part was definitely just the first thing were just the songwriters on the street, as I call them. When I first started going, I went to the Bluebird Cafe and I went to Douglas Corner, which isn't there anymore. COVID killed that. Um, and every writer's night I could get to, I went to at night. I'd write all day till about 5:30, and then I would hit every writer's night I could in the evenings. And there were just so many unbelievably great songs by people I didn't know and I'd never heard of and that weren't recorded yet. I was like, what in the world is this? You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't what I was hearing on radio. And I'm not a radio hater either. Yes, there's a bunch of crap on radio, but there are still great songs on radio too. Kind of like there's always been, really. They just don't sound the way people want them to sound. And I
Yeah.
totally get that. But anyway, I digress. So those are the first things that influenced me was just people I don't even know their names. And then as I got further into the scene and started to figure out who the writers were, um, people like Bobby Pinson, who had a hit of his own called Don't Ask Me How I Know, probably
Yeah.
around 2006, 2007 on his own artist record. But that whole record called Man Like Me is freaking unbelievable. Like song wise, craft wise.
I
Um,
remember when that song came out. I remember that's when that was like right in the era when I was kind of like in and out
mhm.
of listening to the radio. But I remember that song sticking out. And then
Yeah.
I'm in Nashville years later. I think I was at the local and I'm
Mhm. Yeah.
talking with a guy I met at Losers one night and we're talking and stuff. And he was telling the story later on. He's like, yeah, we were hanging with Bobby Pinson. I was like, is that who that guy was? Like, I was like, I didn't even realize it was him.
Yeah.
And I was like, just you started thinking about it, it's like, holy crap, like
Mhm.
because I
Yeah.
fangirl over little moments like that.
Local is our hangout.
Yeah.
The little crew that I've been doing life with and writing songs with for the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years. It's called the Music Row Freak Show, and the local is where it's been now for 6 or 7 years, I think. And so yeah, Bobby's in there all the time. But so Bobby Pinson, and then my favorite writer on the planet is a guy named Tony Lane. Um, have you heard of him?
I don't think I have. What's
Well, he wrote Run for Georgia Strait, I think was his first hit, maybe. He wrote Little Past Little Rock, Leanne Womack. He wrote I Need You, Tim McGraw, Faith Hill. He
oh,
wrote, he wrote Letters from Home, John Michael Montgomery.
ooh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that song. Oh,
Um, yeah. And he has a self-titled album out that's on Spotify and Apple. You should go find it. It's just called Tony Lane, Lane. And I got it one night in 2008, right before I went to see him at the Commodore in Nashville. A buddy of mine was like, "Hey, Tony's playing at the Commodore. We should go over there." And I was like, "I'll go over there before I head back home." And I was like, "Dang!" And so I bought a CD, and I listened to that CD all 10 hours back to Nashville, just the whole time. And it changed the way I write. There were things about that CD, I say this all the time. There were things about that CD that were like just college songwriting class for me that I listened to it and I went, "Oh, that's how you do that. Oh, well, that's how you do that. Oh." Like I don't know why. There were just things about it that I clearly understood. He might as well have been teaching songwriting class because that's what happened with that record for me. And as a matter of fact, when people ask that question we talked about earlier about when did you start writing songs, and I go, good songs. Um, the answer is good songs on purpose about 2008.
okay.
So 3 years, because before that, I got a publishing deal in 2007. But I always tell people looking back that um, I wasn't ready for that publishing deal. Back then, I accidentally wrote a good song every now and then. Like everything came together somehow. I didn't really
Yeah.
know how, but it all worked and da 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 da. It was 2008 when I started, you know, getting more of a clue about how to do it. And it was that record. And like the title track to my first album, Call It Even, which is probably my favorite song I've ever written, craft wise and just, you know, overall. I started it the day after I got back from that trip. After listening to that album for 10 hours, I sat down at the piano. I played this piano thing that I had had for about 6 months, but I didn't know what song it was for yet. And I sat down at the piano, and the first words that came out of my mouth as I played that piano part were, "My daddy hit my mama on more than one occasion, but he also saved my ass a time or two." And that was the beginning of that song. And so yeah, and now I get to write with Tony Lane, which is really, really crazy to me.
Isn't that
Um,
weird whenever you have that moment like you admired someone's like art and then next thing you know you're working alongside it and it's gotta be one of those like how did I'm not supposed to be here. Like
yeah, yeah, it's wild, and I'm super, super grateful and super humbled by it. Um, but yeah, it's a wild ride. So yeah, people like that. Casey Beathard is a writer I've admired from afar. Tom Douglas, and then there's the Shane McAnally and Josh Osbornes of the world. Also, Lori McKenna, um, Travis Meadows. Have you heard Travis Meadows?
I've heard the name.
Oh
It's
my
just
goodness.
there's so many like songwriters. It's like I've seen these names like pop up and you're
Mhm.
like, I know I've seen the name before, but where did I see it? And
Right.
it's like then you start looking at all your favorite songs you've ever listened to, and you're like, oh, that's where I know this.
Yeah. And then there's Texas guys too. Walt Wilkins is probably my favorite Texas writer. Radney Foster's pretty far up there too. So definitely once I started going to Nashville and started digging into how to learn to write this kind of song, it was definitely it's definitely been a blessing to be a part of both scenes, Texas and Nashville, because they're two different animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to some of your songs today and like the one that hit me was God's Not Me.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like that because I was feeling that because I was like reading some news articles today and like some of these news articles you see people doing like horrific things like reading about this and I get bothered by it. And to
Yeah.
me it's like because I completely understand your point of view on that because I was like
Yeah.
if it was me I would have just ended things a long time ago. Like I'd just
Yeah.
restart. We're done. We're not doing this no more.
Yeah.
But I like you but you make a great point. You're like I'm glad he's not me because we would have already been done.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd have given up on me a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's where the whole song was born. Was I was driving to Nashville and thinking about God's grace and thinking about what a mess I am, and I'm like, golly, I would have been out on this a long time ago.
Yep.
But he doesn't do that, and so that's where the song was born. And then with the little turn of phrase, the whole setup of "if it was me," da 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 da, and then "thank God, God's not me." And once those things happened, I was like, oh, we have a song. Okay, we can. This is something we can write, and that'll have an impact. When it gets to the end of that chorus, it'll get you here, which is
Yeah.
the goal.
Yeah, I was listening to that. And I was listening to Call It Even today, and I was like, when I heard that opening line, I was like, "Whew!" Like I was like, I gotta listen to something else today. Like,
Yeah,
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 there's a couple albums like you start listening to songs, you're like, all right, I gotta skip to something else. I'm at work. I don't need to see these guys
right.
see me
Yeah,
cry. Like, I'm good.
yeah. I think of course, "Call It Even" and "God Is Good" are two songs that are completely true. Every word of them. They're my story, parts of my story, and so I think that songwriting, my favorite songs are just brutally honest. Um, and I think people like Walt Wilkins, Travis Meadows, uh, people like that kind of gave me permission just by listening to their music. I mean, Walt's a friend of mine. He sang on my first record, sang harmony on Dad's Garage and Mama's Kitchen, but really just listening to their records and the sheer, I'm going to be totally transparent with the listener right now. Um, really, really opened that door completely for me. And it's really just kind of the way I'm made anyway. But hearing guys like that just lay it all out there, really gave me permission to do that too. So,
No, I mean it's got to be like I know I do stand up, and I know you obviously are a songwriter, and for me, I know it's really hard to get right personal because it's
mm,
like I don't know if I want to do that. Like I don't know if I want to tell people that. So then
mhm.
like you kind of hold like is it really hard for you to write personal about things like that? Like because you're
No,
just like I don't know if I want to share this. Like because this is a
that's
little bit
that's one of the, I guess maybe one of the unique things about me is, no, I'm just that way. I learned a long time ago, you can tell by the song quality and God is good. I grew up in a real violent house. Um, and just, a bunch of stuff I probably shouldn't have survived, but I'm here. And there's a bunch of people that had a lot worse than me. There's a bunch of people that went through the same stuff I went through, but I just came out of all that with this unspoken understanding when I say unspoken, I never really thought about it that, hey, I need to go, if the opportunity arises to share my story, I need to share it because, first of all, somebody might need to know that they're not alone in what they went through, because so many of us don't talk about that stuff, right? And secondly, if I don't put it out there and you just uh, hear the highlights of my story, you might think, "Oh man, that's a great dude," and I don't want you to think I'm a great dude. I want you to know the God who saved me, because there's really no other explanation for me being here and being who I am and writing the songs that I write. And there's just no other, like, I want you to hear the story and go, okay, that wasn't that dude. Who was it? You know? But
yeah.
if I don't tell you all the raw, pretty harsh stuff, you might think it was me.
That's true.
And I don't want
That's
I
a
don't
really
want
good
you
point.
I don't want you to think it's me because it wasn't.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it totally makes sense because and I think that's something that only comes like with time,
yeah.
like after a while, because there's a lot of people that don't want to open up, and it's like after a while, it's like you know what, I have to open up so you understand the real me. I get that. That makes
Yeah,
totally makes sense.
and even in the craft part, I say this to folks all the time. Uh, I do speak to some college students about songwriting and different retreats and stuff every now and then, and I'm like, we become really good friends in the writing room uh, pretty fast, because if you do this thing right, you're going to be in the room. There's going to be a song idea that comes into the room with you and this other person, these two other people, and if you're going to serve the song best, there are times you're going to have to share something with those two almost strangers or strangers that's super personal that you may have never shared with anybody. Something that chokes you up every time you say it. But if you're going to serve the song well today, you have to tell them that story. And so that's another thing about it. Like, my first priority in a writing room is always the song. I don't care if I write 5% of it when it's done or if I write 95% of it when it's done. I don't keep track of it. I don't worry about it. The only time I know how much I wrote of a song is if I'm the only writer.
Yep.
You know, um, and so if you're serving the song, you have to open up and let all that stuff out. And if you don't, you're not doing your job. I remember Drew Kennedy a few years back. I was at the Red River Songwriter Festival that he puts on in Red River, New Mexico, and he had a Saturday morning where he was just had a conversation. He was up on stage, but you could just come, and all the normal folks were sitting at the bar, and songwriters and people just asking him questions. And somebody asked him something, and he said, "Well," he said, "Look, I think that if you're a songwriter and the muse gives you an idea, you owe it to that idea. and to the muse to do everything you can do to write it as good as you can write it. Because if you don't, you're cheating them, and it'll just take the idea back and give it to somebody else.
I, that's a
And I
good
never,
point.
right? And I never heard it put that way, but he's right. Like, and so that's why so many of us become such close friends way faster than usual, because you'll end up in there and you'll be like, am I really gonna tell these strangers this? And I'm like, well, yeah, I am, because it might help us figure out how to write this song today. You know? So yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to tell you how I heard about you.
Yeah.
So it was 20 like April 2021, like Nash, like COVID's still like
Hmm.
rampaging the US, and
Yeah.
I'm in Nashville because they have wait like everybody's like, yeah, can you believe the bars only go open till 2 a.m.? I'm like, I'm from Pittsburgh, man. They're only open till 11 here. You don't understand how good you guys have it right now. But I met this songwriter down there. I went my a friend of mine had a songwriter show on a Sunday, and I happened to run into one of the songwriters that were on the show named Cameron Havens,
Yeah.
and I heard him mention your name a bunch. Him and there was a friend of his. I only say his first name just because I don't want to, get him into any trouble or anything. But his name's Vaden,
Yeah.
and he spoke very highly of you. And I kept hearing your name so much, and I was like, I need to look into this guy because apparently he's very good. So I need to hear about this. And then I think it was around that time I may have heard a demo or something of a song that was going to be coming out very soon,
Yeah.
and it was one of your songs.
No,
And I
that's
was
all.
like, "Holy crap! Like that song's awesome! Like I want to meet this guy one day." And
Oh, thank you.
there we go. This is how we got here.
Cameron Havens is now one of my best friends. He's been in town, I guess, in Nashville now. I think he said the other day it's been 4 years. Whew, man, that's flown by.
Yeah, so I
And
must have met him like not soon after he got there.
right, and we've written a ton of songs together now. One is going to be on my new record. I was just listening to the vocal comp right before we got on this call. It's called By Heart, and yeah, we've written a bunch of good songs, and he is, golly, that guy has gotten so much better since he came to town. It's been really fun to watch. And he's such a great kid. Um, it's just, I always say, whatever age he was at the time, he's the best 23-year-old human I've ever met, which is about right. He's a really good kid, great singer, um, and he's humble. That's why he's also been able to get better. It's because he's walked in every room knowing he's got, a lot to learn. And boy, has he. And Vaden is just awesome. He's one
Yeah.
of the biggest song fans and music scene fans in Nashville. Yeah, I love Vaden.
I met him 2019 I was in Losers. It was on a Tuesday night. I brought
Yeah.
my buddy in from he's never been to Nashville before, so he was in Texas visiting with friends, and he was coming through. I said, "Hey, you gotta come check out this bar. It's my favorite bar in Nashville."
Mm,
So we're there talking, and we see a big country star walk into Losers, and I was like,
yeah.
"Hey, I know who that is."
Mm,
So end up meeting some girl there. I go and chase after her. She, things don't work out, so I leave and come back to the bar, and I walk up to the bar and order a double tequila sunrise.
mm,
And the the big country star makes this look at me, and I
mm.
said, "Man, this is the only way to drink, the best way tequila tastes, and I'm here to get hammered tonight." And he's like, "Cheers, brother." And I just started chatting it up, like just in my head, I'm like, "Don't freak out, just keep it together."
Right.
And I made a joke about like, "Oh, it'd be nice if we had some like right now." And so the guy Vaden's with this guy, and he's like, "Oh,
Right.
dude, I got a video of this." So I have a video on my phone of this whole thing going down. and we started talking. He's like, man, he goes, I've never seen like you be this, like anyone be calm around a country music guy. I was like, well, yeah, I was like, I'm a fan, don't get me wrong, but I'm also like, I also know he's a person, and I'm not gonna
Yeah,
ruin his time here. He wants to have a good time, let him have a good time.
yeah,
And he was like, dude, you gotta come to this songwriter show tomorrow night. He's like,
mm,
I'll introduce you to some cool songwriters. He goes,
yeah,
and then been friend,
yeah,
acquaintances and friends ever since.
yeah, yeah. And Nashville's great about that too. Like most of the people in bars like Losers and Winners and stuff, when the big country stars walk in, 99% of the people know, hey, just let them be people tonight because they're
Right.
just and so that's cool to see. I've seen Tim and Faith at the Bluebird Cafe and just all sorts of, I mean, not playing, just hanging out.
Yeah.
Like, dang, that's Tim McGraw and Faith Hill over there, you know?
And there's sometimes it's like I always said it's weird. You have to read the situation because there's sometimes you can always walk past and be like, big fan of your stuff. Keep doing what you're doing. Just roll on
Right.
by. And
Yeah.
that's enough. Like, I don't need a picture. I don't need anything. Just be like, I really like my favorite move is to pull out a deep cut.
Right. Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
favorite because I do love deep. I listen to a lot. If I find a good B side song or a real good, like one of them
Hmm.
songs, it's not going to be a single.
Yeah.
I would say, I'm trying to think of a good example of that. It's a tough one, but
Well, I'll give you my favorite B-side song story. It was Key West. I think it was 2018. It was the Key West Songwriters Festival. Which, have you been to that, by the way?
I have not. I've always heard.
You have.
I want to go to it so bad because I
It's
always hear it's a great time.
all in Nashville. Music Row goes to Key West for 5 days, and you can walk to everything. It's all acoustic shows, 99% acoustic shows. It's amazing. You would freak out and love it. But anyway, we're down there. It's my wife and I, and Smack Music, which is Shane McAnally's company, was having a little thing over at a place, and apparently it was private, but we didn't know that. We got there early, and we walk up in there, and there's a food buffet laid out and stuff, which that was the first clue. Is like, this doesn't look normal. Why would they have a buffet out? And so we're in there for 6, 7 minutes, and this older gentleman came up very politely, and he was like, "Hey, do y'all have an invitation?" And I was like, "No, I thought it was just open." He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry," And so we're like, "It's no problem," And as we're walking out, we walk down the stairs out of the little, it's a little open air bar restaurant, and on the water. And as we're walking out, Walker Hayes is standing there. And at this point, I mean, this is 2018. I'm trying to think what his biggest
Is that
hit was.
when Fancy Like came out, or is that
No, Fancy Like is like a couple of years ago, 3 years ago. So this is way before he blew up. But he had something out. I forget what it was. He had had at least one hit. And but anyway, we're walking out, and I see him. I say, "Hey man, what's up?" And he starts talking. He's, "Hey man, what are you doing? Good to see you. Where you been?" I'm like, and he thinks he knows me. Um, and I tell him twice in the conversation, "Hey brother, you don't know who I am, but I'm Scott Sean White." Both times he's like, "Dude, I know who you are. Have we written? I think we've written." I was like, "No, we haven't written." And so anyway, we talked for about 10, 12 minutes. And one of the things I brought up was Beer in the Fridge, which is, if you haven't heard it, go listen to that record, the record that had Craig on it. It's a freaking great song about him getting surprised, sober, and there was a beer in the fridge. And just a great song. And I said, "Beer in the Fridge." I said, "I like the whole record." I said, "But that's my favorite need." "Oh man, I love when people bring up deep cuts." And so we stand there, we're talking for a good 10, 12 minutes. And the older guy sees this apparently, comes over in the middle of our conversation there at the end and goes, "Sir, I am so sorry. You are more than welcome to join us today."
nice?
So we got to stay for the party, got free food, all because we accidentally ran into Walker Hayes. He talked to us for 10 or 12 minutes, swore he knew us. That guy saw it. And when we got back in, I told my wife, I said, "These people think we're somebody, but they don't know that we're nobody."
That's always the best feeling too. Is whenever you're like, you get invited into something, you're like, I shouldn't be here, but I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
And all because that guy thought, oh, he knows Walker Hayes. Of
Yep.
course it's okay. And I'm like, I don't know Walker Hayes. He thinks he knows me, but I don't know him.
Yeah, I think it was the same trip I heard about you.
Mhm.
I was going to leave on a Sunday, and that was Easter Sunday, and they're like, they said you're leaving on Sunday. I'm like, yeah, and they're like, no, you're not. They're like, push that flight till Monday. Come with
Mhm.
us, and I get invited outside of Nashville
Mhm.
and had dinner like at this farmhouse.
Was that Vaden's?
Huh?
Was that Vaden's?
Yes.
Oh yeah, that place is great.
Yeah. And I was like, again, one of those moments where like, I shouldn't be here. And then someone famous showed up. And
Mhm.
again, I'm a huge fan of that artist. And I'm just like, keep it together, dude. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, wasn't even gonna mention it. Like, and we're having a blast. And I'm telling people, like, I come home, I was like, no one's going to believe this because you can't take photos
Right.
which I respect. I'm not going to do
Right.
that.
Right. Yeah.
But I'm like in my head, like, what is happening? Because like I was a college student. I wasn't even I
Right.
didn't even have a real job at the time. I was just going for it was one of those I just got hired at a new job. And I was
Mhm.
like, well, I have a week before I start. Let's go to Nashville and hang out for a week.
Yeah.
So
It's a very cool community,
yeah.
There's a bunch of folks in Texas, that on the music scene here just, say they hate Nashville and dog it and everything. And I get a lot of their complaints, but most of them I just say, look, come to Nashville sometime, and when I get done writing every day, I'll take you around to the writers' nights and hear those songs. And if you hear those songs and meet those people, then tell me you hate Nashville
Yeah.
after that. Because I don't know what the disconnect is between what's on the street and what ends up at radio, but I'm just telling you, 99% of the Nashville thing is, 99 maybe high, but it's in the 90s is super cool.
Yeah.
And and so,
I,
but I understand why they hate I hate some of the songs on radio. So
dude, it's the same thing like with comedy. Like
yeah.
there's some places you can go and it's really cool and like you'll fit right in. And then
Mhm.
there's other parts of that same city you'll go to and you're like, I don't like these people. Or why is everyone here kind of a jerk? It's
Yeah.
this it's weird how the parallels are there. I
Mhm.
heard about it in music and then when I started doing comedy it was like, oh yeah, this is factual. Like 100% like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, you have had some really big songs, as you know, but the people don't know. um, I'm sure they do that listen. You have "Make a Home," which
Yeah.
is sang by Cody Johnson, and
Yeah.
wow, what a song, man!
Thank you. Yeah.
And so is "God Bless the Boy." That was the one I heard that was like a demo version. I was like,
Yeah.
holy crap! Like that, I was like, who is this guy?
Thank you. Yeah. And Made a Home I wrote with Cody and my friend Jesse Robb Jr., who's a Texas artist down here too, and become one of my best friends. And that was the first song Cody said, hey, I'm gonna put that on my album, Human. And then that song is the reason he heard God Bless a Boy. And all that is the reason he heard Over Missing You, which he put on the leather deluxe edition. So yeah, it's wild.
I have a wild story that I told him about, and his reaction was priceless. So I have to tell you this story
Yeah,
just so you can be like, "Hey, man, I heard this. What happened?"
right.
So I'm hanging out with a bunch of my buddies. We're all partying one night, and one of them says, "Hey, I brought some like stuff that you know stuff you put on your tongue and see stuff." And I was like, "All right, cool." And I was
Yeah,
like, I'm probably going to be respectfully and decline this. Well, later on the night goes on, the more partying you do, no turned into a yeah, sure, why not? To which I am going through it because I didn't
right.
take one, I took two. Big mistake. Thought I could handle this. So I at one, it's now 8 in the morning and the sun's up and I'm talking to dogs. It's crazy stuff's happening here. So I'm driving home and I'm listening to music, and music sounds amazing right now as a result of this. One of the songs I go home and I just go home, sit in my chair, and just play country music videos. Until You Can't came on.
Oh man, what a song.
I started bawling like a baby. Like,
Yeah.
because I started thinking about my dad, and the video didn't help. And it just like, I'm just ugly crying to this.
Yeah.
So I go to see Cody perform in Pittsburgh, and we get hooked up with meet and greet tickets.
Hmm.
So we go and take a picture with him, and I said, "Hey man, I just want to tell you, I cried like a bitch on acid listening to Till You Can't," and he just starts losing it, like, "Oh my god!"
Right.
And I had just walk away. Don't even say nothing else. Just walk away. My
Well,
one buddy goes, "I wouldn't have told that story." I was like, "I had to. I just wanted to see what his
I had
reaction
to,
would be."
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the cool things about Till You Can't is Matt Rogers and I think Ben Sinis were the writers on that. And I've written a few songs with Matt now, and he's great. And he's a great singer too. But that song was 9 years old when Cody cut it.
Oh, really?
It had been around town for 9 years. And there's a bunch of stories like that. Like they in Nashville, they say the average age of a song when it gets cut is 7. It's 7 years old. And like another example is Bless a Broken Road by Rascal Flatts.
Yeah.
13 years old when they recorded it.
Which is that song's like sounds like a no brainer.
It sounds like a no-brainer, right? Like right out the gate, like of course, but it took 13 years. And from what I heard, Rascal Flatts almost cut it 3 different times before they actually cut it. And I think it was Mark Wills that cut it right before them, but it was just an album cut. I think
Talk
it
about
was,
underrated country singer right there.
right? Right.
Mark Wills does not get enough respect.
And so there's just a bunch of songs like that take a while to find a home, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you, like I said, I was listening to your song. I was listening to Right Reasons today,
Mhm.
and I was like, man, like I love like how your songwriting is, how just personal it is, and just it just
Mhm.
hits, man.
Oh, thank you.
I'm sure like you get a lot of compliments like that from the some of the shows you do. I seen you were on tour with Mo Pitney.
Well, I did a show with them last week. Yeah. He and I wrote a song together, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. Really cool song. And we just kind of kept in touch ever since. Every now and then, once in a blue moon. And I saw he's playing down in my neighborhood, down here in the Metroplex. And I was like, I texted him. I said, hey, I said, you got anybody open that show? And he's like, no. He said, I'd love to see you. He said, I'm not in charge of that. You can ask the venue about it. And I know the venue. So I texted the venue, and the venue was like, uh, man, we'd love to, but that's not my show. That's a promoter, Casey. And I was like, well, I know the promoter. So I texted the promoter. And so it was cool. It was cool to see Mo again. Um, he's, real country music. He's really good people, great singer, great picker. Um, his version of, I don't know if you ever heard his version of Give Me Jesus in the
Mm-mm.
morning when I rise. In the morning when I rise, give me Jesus. It's an old hymn or something, and golly, it is unbelievably great.
My
So,
parents are a huge, or they love his music and stuff because they watched him on there was a video series that went around. It was like the Country Family Reunion, where it was a
mm,
bunch of country legends sitting around, and they brought him in. And he sang. I can't remember what song he sang, but they loved
hmm,
how he
I remember
sings.
that. I remember that video. I know what you're talking about.
I'm
Yeah,
trying.
everybody. Oh,
I try
yeah.
to remember what it is because it's like a real like deep cut. I can't think what.
Mhm. Yeah,
I'm
I know
on.
what you're talking about, though. I saw that video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. So it was good to see him again. That was a fun gig in a big old theater. So.
So I was wondering, since you're a songwriter, you've written a lot of personal songs. Who is somebody that you would like to see cover one of your songs?
Anybody that would make more money than me?
Well, I meant like I didn't know if like maybe there was a country legend or something, like somebody you wish
Oh,
that like, oh, I would love if if that could ever happen, that would be the guy I wish could.
I mean, I guess at the top of that wish list, although the wish list is long. um, uh, I guess at the top of that wish list by a hair would be Eric Church. Um, I just love what he does. I love that he is very rarely does he put out something that is an idea that's been written 4 billion times and he's just rehashing it. You know, he puts out so much unique stuff like Monsters. What a great song. Lightning from that first record, although it wasn't a single.
One of my
Um,
favorites was Knives in New Orleans.
yes, like it's just so unique and different and cool. And he's a great songwriter. Um, and just determined to be himself. But obviously too, um, George Strait, even though he's not on the radio anymore, anybody wants a George Strait cut. Tim McGraw, and Chesney, Chesney on the same side of songs as Tim McGraw in the sense that Tim McGraw will cut Humble and Kind. He will cut a songwriter song. He will cut a song about real life with meat on the bone. Um, and that's one of the things that Nashville loves about Cody Johnson is that Cody Johnson records what we call real songs. You
Hmm.
know, dirt cheap till you can't. Um, God bless the boy. He's not only is he not scared to cut real songs and great songs, it's what he prefers, you know.
Yeah.
And so that's very exciting for songwriters like me in Nashville who, left to my own devices, we're writing something that means something today. Or we're
Yeah. I
trying,
mean,
you
because
know.
people identify with more. That's why a lot of you see a lot of like young women love Zach Bryan because like a
Mhm.
lot of that music for them, like it
Yeah.
speaks to them. Like
Yeah.
it's raw and that's why there's a market for that stuff. And like
Yeah.
I prefer those shows over the big party shows.
Yeah, and I think Zach Bryan, um, and my friend Brian Martin, have you heard of him?
Oh yeah. So I was going to ask you about Brian Martin. I met him over COVID. He played this little bar in Pittsburgh called Jurgles. He
Yeah.
was uh he was on with Colt Ford.
Yeah.
And I met him at the time. I was 420 pounds then. So I
Right.
was big. And then
Yeah.
when I met him again, here I lost like 120 pounds.
Hmm.
And I was like, you probably don't remember. He's like, I knew you looked familiar. He came to again with Chris Young.
Yeah.
So I've seen him a couple times and he's wow, what a voice.
Yeah. Cool voice. And he blew up on streaming with no promotion. He just, organically blew up.
Yeah.
And kind of like Zach Bryan, although being on Yellowstone didn't hurt Zach Bryan. He was on Yellowstone a lot, so that definitely helped. But
Yeah.
he was blowing up organically streaming without radio before that. And my theory behind that, an artist like that, is that they're just being really honest. And whether the public consciously knows it or not, they can sense that that Zach and Brian and artists like that are really being authentic. And even if they don't know it, they can feel it. And my theory is that's why those artists and those kind of artists have blown up. Because also I think it's a rebound effect from all the fake, fictional, bro country mess. And then people just finally get tired of it. And the rebound is, okay, give me something
Yeah.
real, you know?
One of my I love that 90 I want to say 90s countries coming back, it
Yeah.
feels
Oh,
like.
yeah.
Because
Hmm.
like it's weird because if you look at like I'd say mid 80s country, you
Yeah.
could see it's a lot of fake, like everyone's kind of like it seemed like it was very much like Nashville manufactured. And
Hmm.
then like you hit the 80s where it kind of starts going back into not like starts going back into real country again. And then
Yeah.
it started getting back to being poppy again.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I like how now we're going back into like, oh, it's more authentic. You have more guys like Zach Top and
Yeah.
Jake Worthington. That's
Hmm.
one of my guys I can't wait to see again live. That guy's so
Yeah.
much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a Texas boy. Been around here forever.
He was playing like 70s country at this small show in Pittsburgh, and I
Yeah.
knew the words. He goes, man, he goes, I wasn't expecting people up here to know the songs up here. He's like, but at least you did. He's like, that's awesome, man. I was like,
Yeah.
I haven't heard a young guy play music like that. So I was like, that's awesome.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
always say he kind of reminds me a little bit like Mark Chestnut with the voice,
Hmm.
but then
Yeah.
he also has like a George Jones kind of sound to him.
Yeah. Yeah. He does. He does. That's some country music right there.
Yep. And he
Yeah.
just seems like when we were talking, like, he stayed and hung out and talked to people. It just, you could tell like he wasn't like annoyed. He was just hanging out and just being, there was no like fake personality. Like, no, this is who I am. How's
Yeah.
it going? And
Yeah. It's one of the things I love about the Nashville scene is most of those guys and girls are like that, you know.
so,
They're
what do you
really good.
like to? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what do you like to do when you're not songwriting? Like, what's your what do you like? What do you like to do for fun, man?
I'm a big sports fan.
Okay.
I'm a big sports fan. So I watch when I'm at home and chilling in the evening. Uh, I watch the Rangers or the Mavericks or the Cowboys. And just I love sports. I love movies, but I haven't been to movies in a long time. Um, there's a lot to do around. We have a little 5 acres and a couple of horses. So and we have 3 dogs, 3 Akitas, which are big dogs, um, and 3 cats in the house. Uh, the 2 horses and a barn cat. So there's 9 animals on the property. So there's work to do with all that, and when I'm home, I'm on the road a lot. I'm gone probably 3 weeks a month on average. Um, and so, I don't know. I like music. Listen to that a lot. Um, I don't
I
know.
was gonna say, if
I
you're
should
looking,
probably have more things that I do in my off time than I do. I appreciate my friends that when I was just in Kentucky for about 10 days or 9 days or something, playing shows in Illinois, Kentucky, Ohio, on 2 different weekends in between weeks in Nashville to work. And my buddy in Kentucky that I stayed with, and I also write with him, he was like, "We're going fishing Thursday." I'm like, "Good, let's go." And so I appreciated that. I have a couple of friends like that that when we're hanging out for a few days in between shows, they're like, "I'm taking you fishing," and or "I'm taking you, out on the boat or something." And I'm grateful for those folks for slowing me down a little bit because I kind of need somebody else to slow me down.
that's nice because I mean, at least you get away from like people. You don't have to worry about nothing. It's a nice place to clear your head, and you
Yeah,
might get inspired to do something even else.
yeah.
Might just have. I hope you inspire you to think of something else. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's a good thing.
Hmm.
By the way, if you are looking to go to the movies, go see Naked Gun.
Oh, the new one, is it good?
I took my 82-year-old dad to go see that movie,
Come on.
and he's laughing. I mean, but like he doesn't laugh at dirty jokes.
Hmm.
And there's a scene in the trailer where
Hmm.
it looks like Pamela Anderson's doing doing
Right.
Liam Neeson a favor.
Yeah.
And that scene goes on for way longer and gets way raunchier. And everyone in the theater is dying laughing except my dad. And I look like Violet from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because I don't want to, because his favorite game is when you laugh at something dirty, is why don't you explain to him why it's funny? And if that one isn't bad enough, he goes, "Why don't you explain that one to your mother for me? Well, go explain to your mother what it means." So you're just like, "All right, man." Like,
All right. All right. I get your point.
yeah, but oh
Yeah.
yeah, I highly recommend it. Like
What I want to see is have you seen F1 yet?
I
Is it
haven't seen. I want. That was on my list. I want to go see it.
I've heard it's great. It looks like visually at least it'd be super cool looking.
Yeah, it's the same guy that did Top Gun too. So
Yeah, boy, the new Top Gun was great.
yeah, I'll tell you
Oh,
what, you want a good racing movie? I like Ford v Ferrari.
oh man, it was so great.
Like just the way they
Golly.
filmed the car, like you actually felt like you're in the car at some point, and this the
Yeah,
who, and
it
they
was
had
so
yeah, and they
yeah.
had a way to recreate the Le Mans track because
Hmm.
it doesn't look that way anymore. It's
Yeah,
changed in 50 years.
yeah. Wild.
Yeah. But hey, I appreciate you taking the time to like do this.
I appreciate you having me, man. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
man. If you ever come to Pittsburgh, I know you're a sports guy. If you like baseball, I can't guarantee you're going to see a good team, but you should definitely come check out the stadium
Well,
for the
that
Pirates.
picture of yours is pretty good.
Yeah, but there's everything else. But I'll tell you what, everybody says PNC Park is the most beautiful baseball stadium because you get to
Yeah,
see this the whole outlook of the city and everything.
yeah.
So
It
if you
looks
ever come
awesome on
to
TV when I see it.
yeah, if you I was to say if you ever come to Pittsburgh or something, let me know.
I
I'll get you
will.
tickets. They're yeah. It's you always get a good deal on tickets here.
How far is Wilmington, North Carolina from you?
North Carolina is usually about like 12 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang, that's
I
wild.
didn't yeah, Nashville's only like 8.
At some point, I may be, at some point in the next couple of years, I may come up your way for shows. We'll just see. I go where they have me.
Well, there's a lot of cool little like clubs and stuff here. And then I know the radio station does this they have this thing called 8-man jam where they'll get
Uh-huh.
like 8 country artists. Sometimes it's
Yeah.
a songwriter, sometimes it's somebody who's just starting out. It's whoever they
Uh-huh.
can afford within the
Right.
certain ranges, you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think last year they had Jelly Roll and Lainey Wilson because they knew like once next year comes, we're not going to be able to afford it.
Yeah. 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 My
Yeah.
friend Terry Joe Box that I wrote God Bless the Boy with, her and Barrett Baber. Terry Joe is on Hillbilly Hippie. She's a co-writer on that, on Lainey Wilson's record, and Those Boots. She's a
Mm.
writer on both of those. And she's a writer on Ashley McBride's Bible in a 44
Yeah, I love
song.
Ashley McBride, man. She's
Yeah.
like all of her songs just hit you right in the heart. Like,
Yeah, she's great.
yeah, I always used to joke with people and say, you know, the song Andy's written about me, right? Because it's in the name.
I know Andy in real life.
I met Andy. He was at the time he was playing guitar for Ian Gnome, I think it
Uh-huh.
is.
Uh-huh.
And Ian Gnome was on tour with Colder Wall, so I got to see
Okay.
and Colder Wall, man. That's a guy I know I'll never get a chance to talk to like this because he's always gone. But
Mhm.
man, that what a voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, man, I sure do appreciate you having me, dude.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you have anything yet coming up, let them. If you want to shout it out, let it know. Let them know, and I'll also post your links in the bio and stuff. But
Well, thank you. Yeah, just the website, scottshawnwhite.com, and Instagram, Facebook, and follow me on Spotify and hit the playlist, all the stuff, all the stuff that helps us independent artists. And I'm working on my third album right now. I think it's probably going to be May or June of next year before the full album is out. But I'm guessing the first single is either going to be sometime in November or the third weekend of January.
nice.
Uh, will be the first,
Um,
and there'll be
yeah,
five and then the album.
yeah. I was gonna say if you ever want to come on, you want to talk,
I'd
come
love
back
to.
on and promote it, man. 100%. I'd love to have you back.
Most definitely. Thank you, sir.
All right.